The Red Sox have just fired Chief Officer of Baseball Operations Chaim Bloom, and many fans are celebrating this as if they just won the World Series. However, I think that there are a few issues that come with this move that fans are not really thinking about, and these issues are big and realistically could ruin what the Red Sox have been building towards if not handled correctly. Chaim Bloom was hired by Fenway Sports Group, led by John Henry and Sam Kennedy primarily, to build up the Red Sox farm system and get them in a position to compete year after year. And that's exactly what he did, taking the 30th ranked farm system and getting it up to top 5 by some ranking systems. This is what Bloom was hired to do, he did it, and he lost his job because of it. We can only assume what John Henry was thinking because he never really addresses the media, which is another issue I have with the Red Sox owner. I think it's a pretty safe bet that part of the reason why Bloom was fired was because the Red Sox were back in last place in the middle of September, after finishing last place 2 of the previous 3 seasons. Now, the one year the Red Sox didn't finish last, they were only 2 games away from making the World Series, and that was just 2 years ago, but that clearly wasn't enough to save Bloom's job. Bloom was hired to take a bunch of the hits that John Henry did not want his brand to face. He hired Bloom and made sure his first move was to trade superstar outfielder Mookie Betts. Realistically, this was done so that the blame could be pushed onto Bloom and kept away from John Henry. Bloom's reputation has never recovered from that trade, and the blame has always been placed on him, even though I don't think that that's really justified. Along with that, part of the reason why the Red Sox have been so bad under Bloom's tenure as Red Sox GM was ownership was refusing to spend on players during the offseason. This tweet from Jeff Passan basically sums up what I was trying to say, and it reads, "Over the 15-year stretch where the Red Sox won 4 World Series, here were the Red Sox payroll ranks in those years. Second, 3rd, and 1st. Over the last 4 years, they have been under the CBT 3 times, and their payroll this year is 11. But it was the GM's fault." Now, it's not super hard to tell that Jeff Passan is blaming a lot of the Red Sox failure on ownership instead of the GM, based off of that final line, and I think that's completely accurate to do. Owners trying to avoid the luxury tax is a very common thing. Just like a couple of weeks ago when the Angels decided that they were gonna cut 5 players to get under luxury tax, and it still didn't work. That's kind of what the Red Sox were looking to do this season. Luckily for a high market team like the Boston Red Sox, usually when you reset the luxury tax, a lot of the time it means that the next season they're gonna go over again, which is good for the Red Sox, like I said. Now, that's part of the issue I have with this move. I believe that Bloom should have gotten one more offseason to work, and if that didn't work out, then it's goodbye, Bloom. But Bloom never really got a good chance because he had to allocate all of his time to rebuilding that busted farm system. And that farm system was destroyed due to our previous GM, Dave Dombrowski. Dave did win us a World Series in 2018, but this whole rebuilding process is mostly due to him and the strain he put on the farm system, while also signing older players like Chris Sale to large contracts that have hurt Bloom's chances of fielding a competitive team in the MLB level. So while those contracts were expiring, he turned to the farm system instead. Many casual fans don't truly understand how important the farm system is, but it's so extremely important. Dominant farm systems are the exact ways that teams like the Dodgers and Braves have been able to build what they have in the past few years. The Braves have drafted and signed international free agents extremely well. Then they develop them and sign them at a young age so their price tags are significantly cheaper than what they would have been in free agency. Just look at Ronald Acuna Jr. for an example of this. Acuna was signed by the Atlanta Braves back in 2014 for just $100,000 when he was just 16 years old. At that time, he was not even a top 30 international prospect for the 2014 class. But the Braves developed him well, and eventually he became the #1 prospect in all of MLB. In his first season in the majors, he won Rookie of the Year and wowed the entire league. Less than 6 months after he won that award, he received his first career extension at 8 years, $100 million. That's it. Now he's going to either win MVP or come second while making $17 million. And He's still under contract until 2029 because of 2 club options at the end of this deal. And that was only possible because they extended him at such a young age, which is something that the Red Sox have been looking to do, but I'll get more into that in a few minutes. Along with that, the Braves also traded away many of their other prospects for 2 other needs, Matt Olson and Sean Murphy. They were also promptly extended before they reached free agency, and more teams had a chance to increase their contract value. Now, this is the correct way to build a dynasty in baseball, not signing free agents like Carlos Rodon, just like the New York Yankees did. The Yankees signed Rodon to a 6-year, $162 million deal. And with just 3 weeks left in his first season, Rodon has only pitched 11 games to an over 6 ERA. So that's clearly not what you want. With Atlanta in mind, Chaim Bloom had made it very clear that a goal of his was extending Red Sox first baseman Tristan Casas and Red Sox star young pitcher Brian Bayo, both in their rookie seasons. That would certainly seem to follow the trend that the Braves were taking before they exploded into their dynasty. Firing Chaim Bloom might lead to some consequences, like I said in the intro, and one of those might be not locking these 2 future stars up before they become too expensive. Another thing about this move is it just feels like the Red Sox don't really know what direction they're looking to head into, especially with the future. With Bloom, the plan was always to build for the future while trying to be competitive at the same time. But with this firing, it seems that ownership doesn't really care about looking towards the future. And if you are not going to look towards the future and build a farm system the correct way, then it better be time to open up your wallets and spend that money sitting in your pockets. And in the Red Sox current state, it really seems like it'll take a miracle for them to get out of this while keeping many of their good prospects. So you better start spending your money, ownership. And with that being said, this offseason has one of the biggest free agents in MLB history, and a generational player seeming to be on the trade market in Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout. If John Henry is really firing Bloom for winning reasons, then the Red Sox better be in on these big name players. Right now, to me, however, it feels a little bit too convenient that the Red Sox are cutting ties with their GM right before there's a chance to make one of the biggest splashes in MLB history. How could they sign Shohei if they don't have anyone to sign him? Like I've been kind of saying the whole time, this just feels like the Red Sox front office is trying to save face one final time under Bloom. It's almost like they're saying to the fed up fans, look, we fired the issue that you guys were all mad at, so now you don't have to be mad anymore, so just be happy. Love us again. But seriously guys, don't fall for it. This is a multi-billionaire that's been trying to cut costs at the franchise expense for many years now. And Bloom was told that, did what he was told, and fired because of it. That's the harsh reality of the industry and what happened with this move, in my opinion. Hopefully I'm wrong, but this wouldn't be the first time John Henry has lied to save face with this franchise. But I think he's doing it again at the expense of someone else, and it'll probably happen again in the future. So, don't fall for it, guys. Don't fall for it. Keep pressure on John Henry.